Congressman from Kentucky, Andy Barr. Congressman, good morning. So,
good morning, Griff.
What can we expect this week as you guys begin these listening sessions? Where is this headed?
Well, President Trump is absolutely right, and Republicans support lowering the cost of health care. President Trump supports lowering the cost of health care, and we always have. But the central irony of this shutdown that we just went through is that it was basically and largely motivated by a Democrat temper tantrum over the failure of their signature health care law, Obamacare. It was a breathtaking admission that the Affordable Care Act, in fact, is totally unaffordable. Premiums in the Obamacare exchanges since Obamacare went into effect have grown over 60% faster than premiums in employer-sponsored plans. So, look, what we're going to be doing this week is getting to work and continuing to advocate for patient-centered health care that puts control in the hands of consumers and patients as opposed to insurance companies and the government.
You know, Andy, it's remarkable because I remember in 2009, being a reporter that covered this day after day after day. And then Speaker Nancy Pelosi famously saying, we've got to pass the bill, so we'll find out what's in it. They didn't know what it would become from the very get-go. You had President Obama repeatedly saying, if you like your health care, you can keep it. That turned out not to be the case. Now, fast forward to where we are 15 years later. Headline reads, House GOP moderates urge deal on expiring health care subsidies. Inside the Bloomberg article, it says a bipartisan group asked that representatives from both parties in the House could be included in talks aimed at averting drastic premium increases that would affect more than 20 million Americans. Without a deal, the lawmakers wrote, millions will lose their health care coverage because they will no longer be able to afford it due to rising premiums that on average would more than double. But it occurs to me, Congressman, people are already losing their health care.
Well, they have, and Obamacare has forced people into higher, lower quality plans. What we need, again, is patient-centered health care that gives these tax credits to individuals and consumers so that they can go purchase the health plans that are right for them and their families, whether that's on an exchange, off an exchange. Use them to fund a health savings account, put control back in the hands of the consumers so that we have a functional market. The problem with the Affordable Care Act, ultimately, of Obamacare, was that it pushed a lot of these Americans into these heavily regulated exchanges. And so all these subsidies was to mask the true cost of Obamacare and actually subsidize premium inflation. We don't need to be subsidizing more premium inflation. We need to be forcing competition and choice among health insurers and give power back to the American people into the hands of consumers and patients. That's what will drive down the cost of health care. President Trump has been laser focused on lowering the cost of living for Americans, and this is just another example of the president's successful approach to bringing down the cost of living for the American people.
We'll see where it goes. Congressman, real quick, before I run out of time, you filed paperwork. You want to go from one chamber to the other. You have filed to run for retiring Senator Mitch McConnell's seat. What is your intention? Like, why do you want to go from the House to the Senate, and what will you bring?
Well, I love Kentucky, and it's been a privilege of my lifetime to represent the people of Central Kentucky in Congress, the one purple swing district in the state. But it would be an even greater privilege to get a chance to represent the entirety of the Commonwealth of Kentucky in the Senate and have more influence and reach. And look, we're surging in the polls. We're the only campaign in the Republican primary where we're actually growing in the polls. The other candidates are either stuck in the basement or declining in their support. And the reason is that they recognize that and they appreciate, the Republicans of Kentucky appreciate the fact that I was chairman of President Trump's campaign in 2024 in Kentucky, and that, you know, these other candidates like to talk about supporting President Trump. I'm actually doing it every single day in the Congress, supporting his agenda. And Kentucky Republicans don't want to lose influence in the United States Senate, and they see that you've got a proven winner with me and someone who can hit the ground running on day one and doesn't need on-the-job training.
We will be following the race. Good luck, Congressman Andy Barr. Thank you for taking time this morning.